How does it work? I mean, how you said like your analytics can detect, we can get an answer out of sarcastic tweets and that kind of thing, and it can decipher this is a Trump supporter, this is a Clinton supporter. How does it work?
So we plug in the kind of raw data into our system. We ring fence. So say we're looking at Florida. What's all the conversation from Florida? So these 60,000 people in the last week. We then take a statistically significant sample from that, it's a random sample, pass it through our crowdsourcing platform. We're real people. This could be your cousin or your mom who's sitting at home and who helps us verify each individual point of information. And based on how a human reads it, that then trains our artificial intelligence on how to read the rest. So we kind of have these humans in the loop, which means we can, if somebody says, I'd love to see Hillary in striped pajamas, you can kind of read okay, they want to see her behind bars. This is not somebody who loves Hillary Clinton. And so putting that in the correct bucket means you can see this is somebody who mistrusts her. They might not like Trump, but they mistrust her. And so as each of those kind of individual points of data add up, we end up with a very accurate representation of how the whole group of people feels, which means we can then see, okay, people mistrust her more than they dislike Donald Trump. And that's where the kind of swing happened. It wasn't in the people advocating for Trump, it was the people who mistrusted Clinton, where the actual kind of rubber hit the road. And that's very difficult to do if you're using an algorithm. So using people to understand that nuance means that we can confidently say this is how Americans felt, rather than saying we think that they feel this way. We could actually nail our colors to the mast and say, look, if our data is true, they're going to vote Trump.
JP, you talk about views on social media giving you an undiluted vote. What does that mean?
I think it alludes to the raw emotion of people. So when a poll measures are you going to vote, it's just a yes or no. What social media gives you is this kind of raw emotion, and it's undiluted in the sense that it's just people laying it out there. And it's messy, and social media, it's unstructured data that's hard to read. It's just all over the show. But what is held within that text is this kind of undiluted raw emotion, which we're able to measure. And that's where we saw this kind of distinct difference between the Clinton campaign being mostly based on fact and reason. This is the pragmatic choice out of the two. Whereas on the Trump side, it was more, this is based on emotion. Here's our kind of person who's going to come in and save the situation, and we're not going to have any more of these kind of political lies being fed to us and people just lining their own pockets. Here's somebody who appeals to the things we care deeply about. It doesn't matter that he didn't know how he was going to build a wall, it's just the fact that he cared about the immigration, to our earlier point.
Now obviously you guys have got precedent, you were good success rates, like I mentioned earlier, with Brexit and the local government elections. So when your analytics spewed out a Trump win prior to election day, did you guys do anything with this information? Did you make a few people richer?
Well, we did. A few of my friends on social media who kind of knew about the previous call put some money down and made a bit of money. Our chairman protected his investments with just buying kind of insurance policies. But I think more than that, where we put our money on, where our mouth is to go onto, in this case it was BBC News, and say this is what we're seeing. And I think as a result of that, the credibility of our kind of accurate data has just grown enormously, and so is our subsequent value.
Okay, well, that was going to be my next question. I mean, your guys' main focus is, of course, helping clients make better business decisions. So around events like this, is it more for kind of bragging rights? We called Brexit, we called Trump.
I think it is, and particularly in this area where no one else was able to measure that emotion. When we go to a client and we say to them, how your customers feel is important, and if you can measure it, you'll make better decisions around the services that you're offering them. Nothing is more vivid than using the US elections as an example to say, just look at how wrong data gave you the wrong answer. And so you need to be investing in tools that can give you better data to give you better insights into how people feel.
Are there any other companies around the world that called the Trump win like you guys did, using the same sort of analytics?
No, no one who kind of has this crowdsourcing approach that's able to decipher very accurately how people feel, and particularly to a state level. I think there were a few people that came out and said in aggregate we saw a lot more advocacy for Trump on social media. But as we know with the electoral college system, you needed to get it right at a state level. And for everybody else in the world, from what we can tell at this point, it was impossible to do that without having the kinds of tools that we've developed.
Okay. So final question, what's the next big project for you guys, I guess, non-client related event?
Looks like the French election next year, April, May, is going to be very interesting.
Okay.
You know, it's got the similar ingredients to a Brexit and a Trump makeup. So we're going to be watching that very closely and working with some media there to just start telling the story about how the French people feel about what's coming up.
Okay, JP, keep up the good work. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.